Well, hello everybody and welcome to another video tutorial. My name is Peter Drakulic, and in this quick video tip, I would like to show you how you could actually create blueprints, make some blueprints out of your own models, and this could be really useful either for presentation purposes or for any other purposes like perhaps using your own models as a blueprint, as a reference image plane for another project, and yeah, and things like that. So let's go ahead and get started. First of all, here I have a rather early model of a motorbike of a Suzuki GSX 1300R Hayabusa, which I'm working on the last few days, last couple of days actually, and I want to actually turn this into a blueprint. And very important for this to for this method technique to work, you have to go ahead and download a Freestle version from graphical.org. So we really want a build of Blender bundled with Freestle. Okay, it's very important. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. First of all I need to do is to go ahead and select a part of my model which is situated, position it nearly at the center of my model. Let's say this tank here, okay? And it's not so important which one of those parts you're going to choose, but it's enough that it is situated, it's placed somewhere here. I mean, its origin is somewhere here at the center of the model. So now I'm pressing Shift S and I'm snapping the cursor to the selected. Okay, now I'm switching over to the side view by pressing 3 on numpad, and I'm pressing 5 on numpad, so I'm switching over to the orthographic view mode. As you can see now, this is the perspective view mode, and I want to switch over to the orthographic mode, which is I know this because now we have those lines in the background here. Okay, now I'm going ahead and I'm adding a mesh cube here. Okay, and this cube is going to be a bounded box for that will allow me for centering my model in such a way that I can add later on some cameras, and those cameras are going to be perfectly centered by using this cube as a bounded box. So I'm switching over to the shaded mode, and I'm tabbing into edit mode. So press tab and edit mode, and just go ahead and select those vertices on top here, and just scale them, bring them somewhere here. Perhaps I don't want of course the proportional fall off, and just select all of them, scale them along the y-axis by pressing SY, something like that, and just try to move the vertices in such a way that the box now, the cube, has become a kind of bounding box. I mean it's all around the motorbike. Okay, and those points here for the motorbikes, I mean the highest point, the lowest points, and things like that. Okay, so let's try to actually wrap this box around our motorbike. Okay, something like that. Okay, now I want to switch over to the front view. Okay, alright, something like that, alright, let's switch over to the front view, and I want to select all the vertices and scale them until they are somewhere here. Okay, now I am sure, okay, I have assured that I have centered my the geometry of the box, centered it at the motorbike. Now what I want to do is to press Ctrl-Shift-Alt-C and move the origin to the geometry. So now I have actually placed the the origin of the bounding box exactly at the center of the geometry of the cube, which is the bounding box. All right, let's go ahead and name this cube as bounding box. All right, and next thing I want to do is to actually, as you can see now, you could also go ahead and go to the cube properties here, to this bounding box properties, and select for this bounding box cube here from the display tab, select this instead of textured and solid, select wire. So now even if I switch over to the solid mode, to the shaded mode, for this particular object I can see only the wireframe. Very good. So now next thing I want to do is to add some cameras. So let's go ahead and press Shift S first and bring the cursor to the selected bounding box. Alright, so now I'm adding a camera, and this camera here, as you can see here, if I switch over to the wireframe mode, my camera here, what I want to do is first, for a blueprint, this camera has to be a orthographic one. So first of all, I'm going to the camera properties, and I'm selecting, instead of perspective, orthographic. As you can see now, the icon has changed, and I want to bring my camera somewhere here. It doesn't matter how far away from the object you're going to move your camera, just to be, you know, on this side. Okay, so we can now, let's switch over by pressing 0 numpad. Let's switch over into camera view, and I want now to set the orthographic scale for the camera. Let's grab the slider here, and you can adjust the orthographic scale. Now let's say I want to set this to something 9.5, and this is very important, as you can see later on, for the next camera we're going to be adding. Okay, so now the next thing I want to do is to select the bounding box, of course, bring the cursor to select it, and add yet another camera. Just go ahead and add yet another camera, and this camera is going to be also an orthographic camera, as you can see. Alright, and I want this camera first to give it a rotation of 90 degrees around the z-axis, so rotate it around 90 degrees. Okay, and oops, and now let's move this camera in front of our motorbike here. Okay, and let's press Ctrl 0 so we can set this camera to be the active camera for the moment. Again, we don't care how far away from the object. You could place this here, you could place this here, it doesn't matter, since it doesn't have any perspective, so we don't have any change in the perspective. Alright, but you want to make sure that it is placed in front of the motorbike. So let's look through our front camera now, and let's name this camera as front camera. Alright, okay, and yeah, the thing that we want to make sure is that we have set the same orthographic scale as with the side camera. And for this camera here, the orthographic scale was, if you remember, 9.5. So I want to set the same amount here for this camera, 9.5. Alright, now let's take a look through our camera. Alright, okay, and you can see, okay, we have something like that. Let's look through our side camera now. We have something like that. Alright, let's switch between the two cameras. Alright, so we have something like this. Okay, and don't worry too much about this motorbike that looks like, you know, a little bit small inside this frame here of the camera, because we're going to be scale up a little bit the reference, the blueprint, when we are going to use it later on. Okay, so now I'm ready to start rendering and having my own blueprints, but before that I want to add some materials to my object. So first of all, let's select this bounding box cube and go up here to the outliner and click on this arrow here, white arrow here, and this allows us for not changing the placing of the bounding box. Okay, now I want to select the cameras, and then press Ctrl I to inverse the selection, or equally go down here to select inverse, or Ctrl I is the shortcut. Okay, so Ctrl I, and I have selected actually all the parts of my motorbike. Okay, now I want to assign to them a material, and the material I want to assign to them, first of all, I want to select one of them, let's say the fairing here, and I want to assign the material. It has already assigned it, a material assigned to it, but I want to, and I have named this material Freestyle, as you can see here, and the reason for that is that I'm going to make this a shadeless material. Okay, now what about the color of the material? Well, this depends on the color of the background. So if the background has, I have set the background from this color wheel here to something like a light blue color. So if I now press F12 and render, you can see that, well, I have also the bounded box rendered. So this is something I don't want. So I'm going up here to the bounded box, and I click on this little camera icon here, restrict renderability. So click on that, so we won't have this rendered. Okay, so I certainly do want for this fairing material, I want a color which is exactly the same as the color of the background. Okay, so now I go to the material tab, and I'm pressing F11. I'm bringing back the rendering. That's an easy way for doing so, and I'm clicking on this color picker here, and I'm clicking on this color here, and I have actually assembled the color of the background. So now I'm pressing escape, and now as you can see, all the objects have exactly the same material. All right, and that's if this is not the case, then you will have to select by Ctrl I all the other objects, I mean the rest of the objects. Okay, and you want to set the active object to be the fairing, for example. Of course, don't select the cameras, so deselect them. And with the fairing active, press Ctrl L and select Make Links Materials. This should be the case if you don't have if you don't have applied all the same material to all the objects of your motorbike. Okay, but in our case I had already assigned the material to all the objects, so we have no problem. So now I'm ready to start rendering, but before that I want to, in the blueprint, I want to have the contours here, the lines, the outlines of my objects. So that's what I'm going to do in the render panel. So move to the render panel and enable, since you have a Freestyle built, just go ahead and enable where it writes post-processing the edge option. Okay, the edge option here for the Freestyle plugin or branch, whatever. Okay, so enabling this, you can adjust the threshold. I found myself that 55 is a good threshold for something like a blueprint or things like that, and set the color of the edge to something like a white or light blue or something like that. Okay, so now let's switch over. Oh yeah, we have yet another object with I have to make this to have also the same material, the Freestyle material. Now let's go ahead and, having selected, look through our camera. Alright, which is the front camera here, the front orthographic camera, and let's press F12 to render. As you can see now, I have a very nice blueprint of my motorbike, as you can see, okay? Which actually is, because the camera is perfectly aligned, it's perfectly lined up to the center of the bounding box. This means that this motorbike now is perfectly centered at the center of this camera frame. Okay, now I'm going ahead and I'm saving. I want to save this blueprint image here by pressing F3. Okay, and saving somewhere here. All right, and let's save this on I'm not sure. Something like blueprint front or reference. Yeah, anyways, front something. Okay, so save this, and then let's switch over for our save as image. Let's switch over now. Escape, press escape, switch over to the side view, and select this camera now, the side perspective, orthographic camera. Control 0 on numpad, so you have made this to be the active camera, and now press F12 to render. Now we should have, and here you can see, we have this side blueprint of our motorbike. So I want to save this as well as side, image, side image, whatever. Okay, all right, I'm saving. So I now having, you now got two very good looking blueprints. Okay, and those blueprints are perfectly aligned. To each other, since we have made this bounding box alignment thing. And so you can use those blueprints as image planes or background images to your next project. So that was for today. Hope you learned something out of this. If you like this tutorial, don't forget to subscribe. See you next time, hopefully soon, with a hopefully interesting topic. Until then, have fun and goodbye.